Appreciate you taking time out of this your afternoon to come join us and interview with us again. I think this is the second or third time we've seen you. Third, I want to say.
Yes.
But again, for those watching at home, this is Debbie Conway. She's been the county recorder since 2007, correct?
2007.
And she is running for re-election at this point in time. Now, one question, the question that we asked in the previous interview for Michelle Schaaf was, what exactly does the county assessor do? We're going to ask you a very similar question. What exactly does the county recorder do? Not only for us, but also for those, again, who may be watching at home and aren't positive of your job function.
Okay, the county recorder is a ministerial position, meaning we oversee and I'm an administrator. And in our office, what we do is we basically preserve all the records, all the documents that are pertinent and relevant to an individual in terms of their lifestyle. We make sure that those records are preserved until perpetuity. And in case someone comes in and asks for example, we preserve land records. Also, if you're ex-military, a DD-214 paperwork. We also record deeds. Mining claims, any types of liens that are filed against properties, any types of IRS liens, anything of that nature. And so any document, again, that's relevant to an individual on a long-term basis is what we record.
Now, we had heard that there's some interplay between yourself and the clerk's office. And I believe we had Ms. Goya here earlier today.
Yes, me.
Who was running for county clerk, and she'd said that, and forgive me, that the county recorder's office is moving either moving in with the clerk's office or out of the clerk's office. Which is it?
No, actually, what we're doing is we're moving the marriage certificates.
Okay.
Currently, the recorder is responsible for housing marriage certificates. And because Las Vegas is the marriage capital of the world, we have people coming in from all over the world coming to our wedding chapels to get married. And once they've had the ceremony performed, the ministers are responsible for getting the wedding certificates over to our office to get them recorded. And so the couple can't get the certificate right away, a copy of it, a certified copy. So they go home, and basically what happens is the minister has 10 days to bring that document to our office. So once they bring it in, we record it, then it becomes a part of the record. And we get calls, we have a telephone center in our office, and we get about 300 phone calls a day from people all over the world requesting copies of their marriage certificates. And so right now, if a customer or say a couple comes into Las Vegas, they get married, they decide to stay here for their honeymoon, and the document has been recorded. Usually they'll go back to the clerk's office looking for a copy of it, a certified copy, but the clerk doesn't have it at that point, so they'll have to tell them to come to our office, which is 2 trips, 2 unnecessary trips. So what we've decided to do, actually the legislature passed a bill a few years ago that gave the county commission the authority to combine the marriage certificates, applications, everything, and house them in the clerk's office. And so that's what we're planning to do. It's a project. It's going to take us probably 9 months to a year to get all the data downloaded and transferred over, but that's what's going to happen. All of the marriage certificates, applications, the records, everything will be housed in the clerk's office as it pertains to marriage certificates.
Now, will the county recorders still staff those items, or will they be involved, or will the clerk's office essentially take over that role entirely?
The clerk's office will take over everything.
Okay.
And basically what we're going to do is download all the information into a database and then transfer the database over to the clerk's office. So they'll have access to all the old records going all the way back to the 1900s.
Cool. Can I?
Please.
What's Form 241 for military? What does it?
It's DD-214.
Or DD-214?
DD-214. It's a military discharge paperwork.
Oh.
Oftentimes when they get that paperwork, they want to make sure that it's secure. So they'll bring it to our office and they'll record it. And if they ever lose it at home, they could just come there and get a copy.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have a question, and it's Mimi. There's rumors. We get a lot of junk mails in our mailboxes.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how accurate it is, but we heard that recorders' offices kind of verbally sell those things put it on the CD and sell it to the real estate company, sell it to the junk mail without my consent.
You mean that if you record a document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Basically what happens in our office, because we're governed by statutes, in our statutes, everything that we record becomes a public document at the moment of recording, okay? And so we have, we call them data miners, people who set up businesses, and what they do is every day as we record documents, they come in and they buy copies of all the data that we've stored in our database.
Who are these they?
Well, they're called data miners. The companies have different names. Like there's one company called Clark County Records. It's K-L-A-R-K, K-O-U-N-T-Y-R-E-C-O. And people think it's us because it's Clark County. And so that's what they call themselves. They have different names that they call themselves. And they'll actually send one of their employees into our office and download the data as we record it. So as soon as the data becomes available, we can sell it to the public, and it is public information.
So once we recording something, you don't have to ask us individually privacy protection. They can do whatever they want to do.
It's public record.
It's public record.
Might as well make a few bucks out of it. It makes sense.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
what it is. It's public record according to the law.
Just sell them a little bit more.
Law. It's under statute that they're supposed
Yeah.
to do that.
Right,
So
right.
they really can't do anything
So
about
what
it.
we can do as, maybe we own a small tiny house, so we don't want to be on that list, the selling list. Is there anything that we can protect ourselves?
Here's what you can do, and here's what a lot of the major corporations, the casinos, and that have attorneys do.
Yeah.
When you buy a property before it even records,
Okay.
you can get a court document, a court order that says that none of that information is to be made public. And so the only way we can expunge records from our database is that we get a court order indicating us to do so.
Thank you.
Which code is that? District code?
Yeah. Yeah, you go to and get a district court order, and we can expunge information and it won't be made available to the public. And a lot of the judges, because of their position, when they go into office, that's what they do. They get the court order, they bring it in to us, and so when we record the document, we expunge all of their pertinent information.
How exactly do you do that? Do you need a lawyer, or you can just go to the county and?
Well,
There's-
it's best to get a lawyer, someone who
Okay.
knows the
Is that
system. and
one
knows
city
what-
Okay.
right here?
I just don't know. I thought maybe you could just go directly there and someone can.
Lawyers
do that.
always help. Trust me. Oh, yeah.
Any lawyers
John.
on the panel?
It's so
You
busy.
gotta pay them.
Yeah.
John.
But Vimla had a
Thank you,
follow-up
Larry.
question.
I had filed, my husband passed away, so I chip into the office, changed paperwork in my name. And it's almost a year and 18, 19 months. And they said they would mail me stuff, and I haven't received it yet with the new trust deed in my name and stuff. Or whatever they're supposed to mail after the name change has been made. I know it's recorded in my name because I'm getting the paperwork in my name, but I didn't get anything from you guys.
Now, all we do is record the document.
Uh-huh.
So you probably went to an attorney to do the name change
No,
or something.
I had all the legal papers with the will and everything, so I did it all myself. I never
Okay,
had a
so
lawyer.
you did it yourself, and then all we do is when you bring it in, we record it.
Mhm.
They should have given you the document back the same day. That's pretty much what you get back from us is what we record.
Okay. She told me they'd be mailed, so anyway, it's all right. As I know it's done, but
How long ago was that?
almost 2 years, be 2 years in December.
Okay, if it was 2 years ago, we've had our new system in now since 2007. And as soon as you hand us the paperwork, we give it back to you. It used to be they used to mail stuff
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Just go down to the office
I'll go
and,
again, yeah,
and ask for,
when I have time.
Yeah. yeah.
Mrs.
we'll
Conway.
just give you a copy.
Is it standard practice that you have to have original signature signed document for recording?
That's what the law states. It gives us the parameters to look for.
What about digital? That's it. They're from out of country. They send in on the PDF format and you print it out.
We don't accept documents like that from out of state. Now, what we do accept is title companies here who electronically record documents, but they go through a third party, we call it, well, for example, the company is called Simplify. The title companies will upload their documents to this company that contracts with them, and the company is responsible for making sure that the document is in the proper recording format before they submit it to us. Okay, so if it's not, then our recorders will reject it, and we'll go back through that process back to the title company.
Recon Trust.
I see.
Yeah, Recon Trust and all the companies.
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
In your literature, you had indicated during your tenure, your operating budget has decreased by 5%. And there may be further decreases once the marriage license situation finally settles down. Are there any other areas, since you've been running the department for so long, are there any other areas where, is there any remaining fat to be trimmed? Why don't we just say it that way?
There's always fat to be trimmed, in my opinion, and that's because of my background in orientation. I have a master's degree in business, and prior to coming to government, I worked in the private sector for over 20 years. And as you know, government and private sector are two different animals. In the private sector, we always looked at ways that we could streamline and create efficiencies. And so I brought that orientation into the government arena. Initially, when I started back in 2007, there were 80 plus people on staff. They were running 3 shifts, morning, afternoon, and in the evenings, they had a night shift. So, and we were backed up 9 months in terms of mailing back documents. If you brought a document in, it took them 9 months to mail it back to you. And so my first orientation was to streamline all of that process. And so we got it down now that within 1 to 3 days, if you bring a document in, we have to turn it around to you. So it's no more than 9 months. And basically what we did is we cut the 3 shifts. We cut the budget by, overtime budget by 99%. And we did it with technology. We brought in a new system. We brought in computers, scanners. Everything was new and efficient, and it cut the efficiencies or inefficiencies back by 99%. So now we only run 1 shift. We're open from 8 till 5 every day, Monday through Friday. And as far as the staff goes, we had 80 plus people. Now we're down to about 55 plus people. We record over 3,000 documents a day. In a year's time, it's about 1 million documents. And so we're running the same volume now, pretty much that we ran back in 2007 when I came into office. We're running the same volume with less people, less staff, and less resources, and we're a lot more efficient. And so our goal is to continue to enhance our operations by using technology and constantly implementing technology. And that's the way that we streamline efficiencies. Just a few months ago, and that's why I got my cell phone here, we put an application on the cell phone that realtors, like some of you may be in that area where you're investors and you're realtors, if you're out in the field and you're looking at a property and you want the particulars on the property, we have an application on your cell phone that you can pull up our records and look at it now using your cell phone.
That's
Instead of
nice.
having to wait until you get back to your office or your desk and then pulling it up. We also created another efficiency that we rolled out. It's the marriage certificate kiosk. People used to come into our office and stand in line and ask for copies of marriage certificates. Now that we have a kiosk in our lobby, you can just go to the kiosk and punch in your information and it'll print it out and you get a copy like that. You don't have to stand in line. And the other efficiency that we're working on, there's 2 things by next year that we'll be implementing it when you talk about creating efficiencies and trying to make life easier for people. We already have in our office a prototype that our technology people are working on, putting recording kiosks out in the libraries, like in Boulder City, Henderson, Laughlin, and all those areas, Mesquite, so that the individuals that live in those cities don't have to drive here to Las Vegas to record a document. And so we're creating MOUs, that's an internal word, Memorandum of Understanding, or agreements with the libraries where we can sit the kiosks there. And so anybody wanting to record a document or get a copy of a document can go to the kiosk. And it's an interactive kiosk. When you touch the face of the screen, one of our recorders will come up and they'll be talking the person through the process, just as if you're sitting at their desk. And I mentioned one other prototype that we're working on. We have an application that's already ready now, and we'll probably launch it like the 1st of October. It's where you can go into our webpage, and if you want to see a property and do an aerial view of it and take a look at it and the surrounding area and so forth, we've tied our records into the assessor's records and also into the GIS mapping system. So that technology will allow you to go in and see everything you need to see at one time, instead of saying, okay, now I go to the recorders, okay, now I got to go to the assessors to see, you know, where's this property situated, and now I have to go to GIS to get an aerial view. We tied all three of those in. You go in one time, and you can see it from our webpage.
That's very good.
So if I were one of those data miners and I would buy information from the recorder office, how do we eliminate all those pertinent information as far as the documents that, you know, because as I'm concerned of the panel, privacy of our information,
Fraud,
among
people
other
looking
things.
up your social security number, that kind of thing. The legislature passed a law years ago that every recorder in the state has to redact any relevant information that comes in on those documents, like your social security number, your bank account numbers. If you recall, when banks used to do transactions and you would buy a property, they used to put all that stuff on your documents. So the legislature passed a law that we, the recorders, have to redact all of that information. And so if you're a data miner, before we put that document out there, we've already scanned through and made sure that we've redacted that information. So we have people in our office that do indexing, they do recording. Everything is done before the document actually appears on the screen.
Thank you.
Now, you said 3,000. How many thousand a day?
3,000
right?
a day.
Yeah. What happened if there's a fraudulent document that was recorded? What's the recourse of the, say, original property owner, etc.? What's the recourse? Is there any?
There is a recourse. And we have people that come into our office every day. We do a workshop where we try and go out into the community and train individuals how to look at documents on our webpage. And we do that because a lot of seniors that own property, somebody can come in and record a lien against their property, and it's a fraudulent lien.
Right.
And so what we tell them is in the workshop, now our office, mind you, is governed by statutes. All we can do is record documents. It's not our place to determine if there's legitimacy to it or if it's legal or whatever. Our place is the document recordable? Does it fall within the confines of statutes? If it does, we record it. So there are people that come in and fraudulently record documents against properties. And what we say to the seniors and anybody else is, number one, you can pursue it with your own attorney. For seniors who don't have the ability or the money to do it, we send them to the Nevada Legal Services. And so they have pro bono attorneys that help them with that. And to get the document removed again, it requires a court order. So you need an attorney to get the court order to remove the document. We can't remove it because it was a recordable document. But there are instances where people do try and commit fraud, and that's what we do. We refer them to either their own personal attorney or go to the Nevada Legal Services.
Okay. Well, we are right at our time limit.
No.
I'm sorry, but yeah, of the people we've seen today, you gave us more specifics as to how you've technologically advanced the office than anyone else, and we greatly appreciate your efforts. It sounds like it was a little bit outdated, perhaps, when you first got there, but you've really brought it up to speed. So we really appreciate that.